A question I often get asked is, what's the relationship between thoughts and enlightenment? How are we discovering no self when the thoughts keep us trapped in this illusion? Enlightenment begins with the realization of no self, or anatta. We first move from believing that we're a somebody, that we're this mind and body, to knowing that we're nothing. We realize emptiness, you could say. And finally, to realizing that we are everything. And seeing that you are not your thoughts is the first step, really, in knowing no self. The process of equating oneself with an aspect of our experience, such as thoughts, is called identification. We can identify with all kinds of things, with the body, thoughts, emotions, feeling tone, consciousness, with being the witness. So we identify with a variety of different aspects of our experience, but thoughts is a very powerful one that keeps us trapped. In our formal meditation and in our daily lives, we're mostly unaware of thoughts as they arise in the mind. Have you noticed? We're often on autopilot. We're unconscious of the thoughts being produced. And in this state, thoughts just jump in and off we go with them. At some point, however, we realize that we've been lost in thought, that is, if we're practitioners, and we wake up from being lost in thought. This is a key moment. In this entire process, there is a very strong sense of self being the thinker. To experience no self, we practice being aware of thoughts as they arise, rather than only after they're over. We start to see and experience thoughts simply as objects arising and passing, just as sounds are produced by our environment arising and passing. We start to see the selfless and impersonal nature of thoughts. Just like sounds are impersonal, we start to see thoughts in a similar way. Here's an exercise that Joseph Goldstein has suggested. Imagine that every thought that's arising in your mind is coming from the person next to you. Just notice if that would make a difference in how you're relating to the thoughts. It can give you a sense that the identification with thoughts is extra, something added on. The thought itself is just appearing and disappearing like a sound, but being identified with it is something that we're adding on. When the mind is thinking, we can simply ask the question, what is a thought? So are we looking at the content of thought, or are we just seeing the phenomenon of thoughts arising? So this is the key part of it. We can pause in this very moment and look and see a thought arising. Simply noticing a thought arising. See how insubstantial it is. It appears just like an energy bubble, very ephemeral. What if this was our default view of thoughts? Would they have the same power over us if we didn't believe them all to be true? Would they be the little dictators that they most often are, saying, go here, do this, don't do that, you shouldn't have done this, you should have done that, and so on and so forth? While meditating, observe your thoughts like clouds floating through the sky. What we are being taught here is to disengage with the ego, with the egoic mind, and to instead engage the witness. It's the witnessing self, seeing the self as awareness, self as witness. And this is what mindfulness is really all about. We're simply being conscious of our present moment experience so we can see its true nature. We can see its impersonal nature. And that's the key to realizing no self. When identification leaves ego and goes back to the witnessing self, it's very freeing. It's like waking up from a dream. We're waking up from the dream of the ego. And you can experience this for yourself. When we see thoughts for what they are, we're less likely to be pulled into the the drama of them. Have you noticed that? How we get pulled into the drama of our life? When we see the truth of them, they lose their juice over us. They lose their power over us. Some choices arise from this witnessing perspective. I can follow this thought or not follow that thought. So not all thoughts are believed. Some very practical, helpful thoughts can be followed, but others simply let go. Another exercise I like is to practice seeing thoughts like a movie. When watching a movie, we get absorbed in the story of the movie, right? We're pulled into this story. We feel many emotions. We might get excited, afraid. We might feel compassion, love, whatever. And then maybe at some point we say, oh, these are just pixels of light projected on the screen. Everything that we thought was happening is not really happening. We do that quite easily with a movie. It's not quite as easy with thoughts, but it's the same principle. It's the same way with our thoughts. We get caught up in the story of our thoughts, forgetting their essentially insubstantial, ephemeral nature. When we truly see the nature of thought, this is our power. We see thoughts arise. We can know which thoughts are helpful, which thoughts are going to serve me, which thoughts are going to serve others. Then we can act on those thoughts and simply let go of the other thoughts, the majority, that maybe the 90% of our thoughts that are simply producing stories and causing us suffering. Rupert Spira, in his book, Being Aware of Being Aware, uses the movie metaphor in a different way. He says we are not the phenomenon appearing on the screen, the movie, which are thoughts, emotions, and so forth, nor are we the witness watching the movie. Our true nature is the screen. Beautiful metaphor. The screen is untouched by whatever appears on it. The screen is always the same. It is estimated that the average person thinks between 12,000 and 60,000 thoughts every day. So that gives you lots of opportunities to practice and see the true nature of thoughts, which is, in my experience, the first step to realizing anatta, or no self. Thank you for your time. I hope to see you soon. Please hit the like button if you enjoyed the video, found it helpful. Subscribe to the channel, and I have in the description below a link to a free ebook that really outlines the entire process of seeing no self and realizing emptiness. Bye for now.